Welcome back to the Cat Knit Podcast. My name is Grace, and today is Friday, July 28th, which is exciting because it means the weekend is coming. I do apologize for there not being an episode last week, but I will explain in the episode why there was not an episode. So yes, we'll just chat about that. This is the knitting, spinning, dyeing yarn, baking, reading, cats, tea, literally anything, but specifically knitting because that is what I love to do. That is that kind of podcast. So if you're interested in that, please stick around. I do hope you enjoy. Like always, all my various show notes are linked down below. They will be on my blog. If you are on YouTube, all my various social medias will be linked down below as well. There's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Ravelry. Those are very wonderful. I'm very active on Instagram, so if you'd like to follow me there, that would be wonderful. There's also a Ravelry group where you can go and join, and I'm very bad at keeping up at it. I do apologize, but it is still a group that I do have for this podcast. If you'd like to go join, it is on Ravelry. If you click the groups tab and then search the Cat Knit Podcast, it'll pop up. If you'd also like to buy some yarn that I have hand dyed, the link is catknityarns.bigcartel.com. That will be linked down below as well. And I do believe that is all that I have to say. I have my tea, I have my knitting nearby, and hopefully the apartment complex people will not be too loud while they record. So, if you'd like to get something tasty to drink, I have my tea in my beautiful cat mom mug, which is very accurate. Very, very accurate. If you'd like to get something tasty to drink, then come back and join me for some crafty chat. So, just first things first, I was gone last weekend. That's why I did not record. I was gone. We left on Friday. I mentioned this the last episode that we were going to be gone, and I did not know how I was going to figure that out, and I just figured it out by not recording. So it worked out very well, didn't it? I do apologize that there was not an episode and there was no warning. It just did not work out with the schedule, and I was also kind of beginning to kind of lose my voice, so on Friday it was just kind of like I can't really speak. Also, we left on Friday, so in recording earlier I would have had my voice being lost. Anyway, also it is very hot and sticky this morning, and so if I play around with the hair off of my neck, that is why. We'll see how long it lasts down. So this is very problematic because 2 years ago when I was studying abroad, I chopped all of my hair off, and so since then I've been growing it out, also because I got married and I wanted like nice hair for my wedding. Not that short hair isn't nice for weddings, it can look very cute, but for what I wanted like longer hair, so I worked on growing it out, and now it's like I really like the length of it, but also it's like super hot, and so it just makes me want to chop all it off again. But I don't want to do that at the same time because I like the length that it is, and yes, so that is information that you probably didn't need to know or probably were not interested in, but now you do know. A little fact about me, and also reaffirmation that it is very hot in Texas. So yes. Maybe hot in Texas, but we still continue to drink our tea and our coffee and our warm drinks and beverages because they're just so good that you just can't live without them. So taking a week off though was very nice. It just kind of like allowed me to refresh a little bit, and the trip that we took was for a friend that I grew up with. She got married, and so we got to go back to my hometown, which is Ponca City, Oklahoma, if you did not know that. I was born in Oklahoma. It was just so much fun to go and like visit all the places that I grew up going to, like the library that I grew up going to, and like the various bookstores and the tourist attractions in Ponca City, which is really not very much anything. There's a big mansion called the Marlin Mansion, which is truly fascinating, and it is really super cool. So I'll link that in the show notes if you are interested in reading about E.W. Marland and his oil journey. My husband had never been to Oklahoma before, let alone in Ponca City, so that was really fun to get to show him everything and just enjoy that together. So that was really fun and very special. And of course we got to see so many old friends that I had not seen in forever. And that was just so much fun. And of course we got to celebrate the fact that my very good friend got married, which is always fun. But so, driving from Oklahoma to Dallas, or Dallas to Oklahoma, and then back again, resulted in a lot of knitting time. And that was very successful. I'm afraid that I only knit on one thing, so, but it is a new thing, and that is very exciting. So I will talk about that, and I have some other things that I have knit upon, like, before we left, so I'll talk about that as well. I do also apologize if my voice kind of sounds nasally. I'm still dealing with a lot of like congestion because allergies are bad and I'm getting over like whatever I had. So I have cough and I have a lot of like stuffiness. So if I do sound different, I am fine. I am not dying. I am just dealing with congestion. Oh, the joys of life. Although taking a week off was nice, I feel like I have completely forgot how to do this because like I got kind of set up, like half set up, and I was like, I'm ready to go, and then realized I didn't have any makeup on, which is fine, I don't care, but also I want to look like decently presentable to you guys. And so I was like, well, that's kind of like a really big part of getting ready for a podcast. I keep forgetting things that I need to say. For example, I forgot to say where all my show notes were and all that kind of stuff. But yay for the powers of editing, you won't even know. So when you get to this part, you will have figured that out, but when you watch it, hopefully you won't even know that I forgot. In addition to knitting that I have done, we will acknowledge the fact that both the Tour de Fleece and Stash Dash, oh no, Stash Dash hasn't ended yet. Tour de Fleece has ended. Did I spin any finished yarn? No, I didn't get any yarn finished. I could see it on my spinning wheel just in the living room over there. And I have started to ply it, but it is not finished, and I said I was going to do that and how excited I was. Life happens, you know, stuff happens, and that just kind of like dwindles away. But I will, it's not that I won't ever spin again. I'm definitely going to continue to spin. It's just that there have been a lot of like knitting events and things going on that have gotten me so excited that spinning has not been in the forefront of my mind, even though it's been sitting right in front of me. So there's that. Stash Dash is also continuing on. I don't remember when it ends, but I believe it's sometime in August. So we still have time for that, although it is basically the end of July, so where has time gone? I have not gotten nearly as much done as I would have liked to for Stash Dash, but that's okay, you know, again, life gets in the way and you feel the need to cast on all the items and you don't finish any of them because there's just so many exciting things going on and you just can't help yourself. That would be me. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I definitely feel that way. That is just how my knitting life is going right now. But that's okay, you know. You do what you gotta do. Knit what makes you happy. Oof. I was wearing a sweater, but it's just too warm in here, so it was a lightweight sweater too, and it was just like too warm. Also, I hear the yard people. I don't know if you can hear them, but I can hear them currently, so hopefully they will stay away for the amount of time that I need. Okay. Moving along to works in progress. Living in a big bag because this is a big project. This is living in my Ginger Twist Studio, which is such a lovely yarn store in Edinburgh, Scotland. I Highly recommend it. If you ever are there, please go check it out. It is so wonderful. The owner, Ginger, is so sweet. She is so adorable. She has the best fashion sense ever, and it's just like there's so much fun yarn to buy, and I highly recommend it. That's where this bag came from. Fun fact. And it's just she's got like this little cat with these glasses, and it's like, how can you say no to that? Highly recommend it. Everything will be linked in the show notes, so don't worry. So, because this is a big project, it's living in a big bag, and you can see that this is a very large skein or cake of Cascade Eco Wool in the shade Ebony. Oh, I don't remember what I was talking about last time, but I was talking about maybe getting this yarn and casting on a recently published sweater by Shannon Cook. If you follow me on Instagram, you've definitely seen this for sure, but you can see it now on the podcast in all its, the podcast in all of its glory. It is also kind of a weird shape, so I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see it, but I will do my best. It's also a dark yarn, so let's keep that in mind. But, oh, I think it's going to show up just fine. Ta-da! So this is all I have so far. Oops. The skein has just fallen on the floor. This is all I have. I do not completely understand how it's going to be seamed together. It's one of those ones where it's like you create an area to seam together an armhole, and then you only end up like seaming two things, and that's all you have to do. You knit the whole thing in one piece. So I'm sure once I like get more of it done and do the other end, it'll make sense. And also there's a very well written schematic in the pattern and very well written instructions on how to connect the dots and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not worried at all, but at the moment it's just kind of like, well, this is interesting looking. I don't know what this is going to be. So I am greatly enjoying knitting it. Goodness gracious, I love it so much. And what is it, you might ask? I did say it was designed by Shannon Cook. That might give it away. It is the Veronica cardigan. And when it came out a couple weeks ago, it took the internet, the knitting internet, by storm. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was casting it on. Everyone was trying to pick out what yarns they wanted to do. And I was doing the same thing. And I was just like, I want to cast this on so badly. I had my yarn picked out. My mom also is using the same yarn. So it was just kind of like, well, just need to order it. And then we can do a little knit along. It'll be great. And so literally while I was editing the podcast 2 weeks ago, I ordered the yarn. And then it arrived on like Monday or Tuesday of the next week. So shout out to Jimmy Beans and their wonderful customer service. And just getting things. I've got a text message. So it came really quickly, which is really amazing. And I wound up the first cake and I cast it on, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I love this sweater. I loved it so much. It has become my new favorite like knitting project. It is, oh, apartment people, why? It has definitely become the thing that I like grab whenever I want to knit in the evenings or literally whenever. So it's gotten a lot of progress, clearly. 2 weeks ago this didn't even exist, and now it's got a lot of progress on it. So the yarn I will go over again. I think I mentioned before, but let's just mention it again. It's Cascade Eco Wool in the ebony colorway, and it may look like it's black, but it is the most beautiful chocolate brown ever. It is gorgeous. So I'm very, very excited about wearing it. I think it will just like fit into my wardrobe so well. It's the kind of sweater that like I love wearing. The sweater I took off is the same kind of sweater, so probably get a lot of good use out of it. And I'm just so excited to be knitting upon it, and I cannot wait to get it done so I can wear it, but I also am really enjoying knitting it, so it's all wonderful. So yes, happy days. That is what I mainly worked on in the car to and from Oklahoma. And since then, yes, I do have a Ravelry project page for it, which will be linked in the show notes, don't worry. So all the information I just said will be there, but and then all my various Instagram pictures are there as well. I do really appreciate that Ravelry now has the capability to import your Instagram pictures into your project pages, because it makes pictures so easy. I think, like, when I found that out, that motivated me to, like, update all my project pages and just take care of it, because I knew I had bazillions of pictures on Instagram that I was not able to use because that was not a thing before, and now it is, so it just makes it so easy, and I love that so much. Another thing that I have been knitting on but have not shown you guys recently because progress on this thing is a little hard to see sometimes. I have been working on this since a long time ago. I've been working on this since January, February. I got this yarn for Christmas, and just because of the wedding and everything, I was not able to get a whole lot of progress on it. I like cast on the lace inserts, the lace part, which you'll see in just a minute. People, I'm trying to podcast here. I just don't understand my schedule. Because you need to do whatever you're doing around the podcast. Gotten a lot of progress on it. I showed you guys every like step of the process. It is my old romance cardigan by Joji Locatelli, and this is the one with the lace inserts on the sleeves, which is truly beautiful. So here are the lace inserts. This is knit out of Madeline Toshmo Light in the kitten colorway, which is the lace insert, and then in the antler colorway, excuse me, that's the white, and then the kitten colorway, which is this gray. So yes, I have clearly made a lot of progress. I'm just knitting on the body now, like that's all I have to do. So it's definitely a lot longer from the last time you guys saw it, but I don't think it's like I'm not getting ready to do the ribbing and wind off by any means. I think I have maybe like 5 more inches. If I'm lucky, maybe, I don't know. I really need to measure. And I think last time I looked at the pattern, I may have like seen the measurement and then measured it on myself and wasn't happy with how it was, so I think I might be lengthening it, maybe. I don't know. And then I have to pick up around the outside for the band, because it's not a button band. There are no buttons. It's just the outside. So the collar, I should say. That's what that is. So I'm very excited about it. I'm really loving on it. I'm loving on it. It's like the perfect mindless knit if I need to like really pay attention to something else, but I still want to have my hands busy because I know I'm going to be doing something for a long period of time where my hands will be very like not doing anything, but I still need to pay attention. Movie knitting, that's another, just say movie knitting. If I need my hands to do something and I'm going to be still for a long time, this is the best knitting, because it's literally just back and forth and back and forth. There's no shaping. I've already done all that. It's super easy. I finally finished a cake of yarn, which I'm assuming was maybe my second or my third. This is all I had left, which was not enough to get across the row. So I do have another one wound up. I did bring it with me to Ponca, just in case. I did not knit on it, obviously, otherwise the cake would be attached. So, yes. I don't know what the progress is that you have seen, but hopefully it has been some, and I'm going to continue to knit on this. It might be a year-long cardigan. Hopefully that won't be the case. I'd love to get it done before, like, October or something like that. That gives me 2 months. I could do that. We will see. We will see. So that, yes, this is the Old Romance Cardigan by Joji Locatelli, which is very wonderful. I highly recommend it. It is a little bit more complicated, so if you are a beginning knitter, I don't recommend it. But if you are comfortable doing lace and short rows and a little bit different construction, I highly recommend it. It's very adventurous and the pattern is beautifully written, so highly recommend. Another thing that is currently going on, and I don't actually know if it is still going on, but I would assume it was because it started 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I don't know, but I'm still working on this. This is my dotted raise speckled fade by Stephen West for his West Knits Fade Along. There are lots of hashtags and names for things that I can't keep track of. So yes, I am so many ends, goodness gracious. This is my dotted raise by Stephen West, and I'm fading it, so I'm getting ready to add in another color. I think I'm gonna do, the way I worked it out with the colors, I had one extra, so I figured it out wedge-wise how many wedges, half wedges I needed to do in certain colors in order to fit them all in. So I think I'm going to be doing a little bit of a wedge in this color, which I might have already done and completed, and then I'm going to be adding in this beautiful color, which is much more blue on the camera. It is much more green in person. So we'll be adding this colorway, and this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Mandala colorway. All my various yarns are linked in my project page on Ravelry, so do not worry, I'm adding them as I go, as to not be overwhelmed and add them all at once, which I know it's really not that overwhelming, but if I add them one at a time, it motivates me to like keep them updated. So that's my thought process in that. So yes, this is by Stephen West, the brilliant designer that he is. I have not knit on this in a week, maybe more than a week, so currently my love for this is kind of like hit a plateau because of the Veronica cardigan, so I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to knit on this right now, but that's okay. I know that that will pass, and I just need to knit on it, so that's exciting. I will continue working on that for sure. I just don't know how soon because the Veronica cardigan and also the old romance cardigan, I want to get that finished. So we'll see. This is living in my loop bag, which is another wonderful yarn store in Europe, not in America. It is very wonderful. I highly recommend it if you are ever in London, near Islington, I believe. You should definitely check it out. It is a beautiful, beautiful yarn store. So much fun. So yes, this is the Dotted Rays Speckled Fade by Stephen West in mini yarns that are all stash, so that's good. Yay, stash, stash. If I get that done before stash, stash, that'll count. That would be wonderful. And it has not got any more progress than last week, maybe. I don't know. It might have gotten a little progress, but not much. So, yes. Another wonderful thing that is happening today, specifically today, but also this week. Today, Friday, July 28th, is my husband's birthday, which is very wonderful, and we have fun things planned. We're gonna go to a Rangers game, which means I'm gonna bring my knitting, and it's gonna be great. So I'm going to talk about this on the podcast because one, he doesn't watch the podcast, and two, even if he did, it would be going up the day after, so he would have already received this gift that I'm about to show you. So this past Christmas, if you watched back then, you would have seen a gift that I was making for someone I didn't name, but it was my brother-in-law. They were baby knit cacti. and they turned out so well. I was so pleased with them. I love them. I see them every time we go over to my sister's house. It is so cool to see them sitting there. They look amazing, if I do say so myself, because I made them. But, so, my husband at his office, or his desk, he mentioned it would be nice to have something that I had made for his desk, specifically at least one cactus. And so I did not act upon it because we were busy at the time, and then his birthday rolled around and I was like, well, that's just perfect. I'll just make him some cacti. So I did. And I made 4 of them. I have hair in my mouth. And I'm not going to be able to hold all. Maybe I will. Okay. They're not all quite done yet. Actually, they're all quite done. Except for maybe one of them. One of them is going to get a flower. I don't know which one yet. But here are my little cacti that I have made. And I'm just so happy with them. I love the colors. I love how they look on the camera too. That looks really awesome. So yes, it is a very simple cacti pattern. These little pots were from Michael's, and I'm sure you can find them at Hobby Lobby or your local crafting store. They were only like 49 cents, which is wonderful. And I got some stuffing, so it's very easy. There's one. There's another one. The pattern that I used was written for this particular texture, but as I'm about to show you, and I did at Christmas, I also made one. I took the exact same pattern and just did the seed stitch. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I'll link it in the show notes. So, is that in focus? That's better, I think. Yeah, so that's that one. I think this one might be getting the flower, I'm not sure. And then we have this little guy who's a little wonky, and he actually has another arm, but I put it down too low, so he doesn't sit in his seat very well, so I'm just gonna stick it down in there. But took the same pattern. This is not what the pattern is. It's the body is, but then what I do for the arms is what you would for a thumb gusset. So, fun fact about that. And I just did them randomly. I did not place this one very well, obviously, because it's like without the pot, it looks really great. But then you stick it in the pot and it's just like, I guess that could work, but it'll fall out pretty easily. So if you do that, then it'll look much better. So he's got a little arm, which is nice. You can kind of see the stuffing, but that's okay. So the 4 of these guys will sit on my husband's desk at work. And it'll be very happy. Little baby cacti. Boop. And they're so easy to knit. I made all of them in maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I was doing things in between as well. So they go really quickly. They're knit on size 5s, but depending on what yarn you use, the pattern calls for a worsted, but you can use literally whatever you want. I think it would be fun to use like a novelty yarn to get the really fun texture instead of using just the seed stitch. Possibilities, ideas for the future. So yes, one of them will be getting a little baby flower, which is what I did for my brother-in-law as well. One of them got a flower. And I believe it'll be this seed stitch guy. And I'm going to be using this extra Malintosh Merino Light in a colorway that I don't remember what it is. But I use this for my fade, my Find Your Fade. I've used this in my exploration station, and I use this for the previous cacti flower that I made. So it's very simple. I believe it's just like a baby crocheted flower. It's definitely crocheted, so I don't remember how to do it, but we will teach ourselves, and we will wrap these up and give them to my husband tonight. So I'm very excited about how these turned out. I love the colors how they came together, and it just worked out really, really well. So I'm excited to give them to him this evening. In other non-knitting, but also kind of knitting news, I was able to meet an Instagram knitting friend, which I have actually never done before. So that was really cool. We met on Instagram, and then we were just like, we live in the same area, so let's go find a coffee shop and let's hang out and knit. So I got to meet Nicole, and Nicole, if you're watching, hello, I hope you're doing well. And it was super fun. We both got a lot of knitting done, or I got a lot of knitting done. And it was just really super fun. I never like met someone that I didn't know before in person that had to do with knitting. I've met like other people through like classes that I've taken online, but yeah, no knitting people. So that was really fun. Thank you, Nicole, for meeting me. That was super, super exciting. I had a blast, and the coffee shop was really wonderful, and I'll definitely be going back to Redefined Coffee. Yeah, Redefined Coffee in Grapevine, Texas. If you're ever nearby, I highly recommend it. It is truly wonderful. So that is it for this week. I do apologize if it's a little bit shorter, even though I was gone for 2 weeks or a week. There was a week in between. My knitting was definitely not up to par as it normally is. Well, I guess it was. I got a lot done. I got a lot of knitting done. It's good. I cast on a new sweater. That was a big deal. I got a lot of progress on a sweater. I did that. So, yes. So I think that is it. Hopefully next week there will be a little bit more. I'll try and work on more things to show you instead of just one. Although it is really nice just working on one thing because I know I'm getting a lot done. That's great. So yes. Like always, like I said at the very beginning, all the various show notes about the things that I've talked about in this episode you can find down below if you're on my blog, or it'll be linked down below if you're on YouTube. All my social medias will be down below. There's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Ravelry. I say them in a different order every single time. Fun fact. There's also a Ravelry group if you'd like to go join. I am not very active on it, which I do apologize, but if you'd like to join anyway, it's on Ravelry. Click on the groups tab and search the Cat Knit Podcast. It'll pop up. There's also a place where you can buy some hand-dyed yarn of mine. It is the catknityarns.bigcartel.com. And yeah, I guess like always, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have had a wonderful week and you continue to have a wonderful weekend. If you have any crafty plans, I hope they are successful. Clearly I have crafty plans because we're going to a Rangers game tonight, which is baseball, by the way, if you do not know. I'm the type of person who wouldn't have known what sport it was if we hadn't already been to a Rangers game before. So I would be like, that's cool, what kind of sport are we going to go see? So if you're one of those type of people, you are not alone. I am one of those people too. It is baseball. So we're gonna go do that to celebrate my husband's birthday. I'm gonna make a pie. I'm gonna make a lemon icebox pie. Lemon box. I don't know what a lemon box is. Lemon icebox pie, which is super easy and so delicious if I do say so myself. And yes, I also need to make the little crocheted flower and sew it onto the little cactus, and wrap it all up, and I need to take care of his card, but that's okay. I have all day to do that, so in addition to editing the podcast. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So yes, I hope if it is very warm where you are, I do hope that you are staying cool or trying to stay cool. It is very warm here. If you have not heard me mention, which I have done many a time in the podcast, it is very warm here, so we are trying to stay cool. Hopefully you're staying cool too. If you have cooler weather right now, I envy you a lot. But that's okay. Cooler weather's coming. It'll be fine. Just as I begin to finish the podcast, the apartment people start coming back. Yes. good timing, but I also have just a little bit left to film. So if they had waited just a little bit longer, you are a returning viewer. Thank you so much for coming back and watching more of my episodes. I really appreciate you guys coming back. If you were a new viewer, thank you so much for trying me out. I hope you enjoy what you see. Either way, if you'd like to hit the subscribe button, that way you can see my videos when they show up in your newsfeed. That would be really great. Or you could give this video a like if you liked it. That would be really great as well.